Hello, friend. Welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, and this is Connor.
Hey guys.
We're going to talk about Mr. Robot Season 2, Episode 6. It's called EPS 2.4 underscore masterslave.aes. Any idea what AES is?
No, but the trend seems to be encryption software. So,
That is true. It does seem to be that, doesn't it? But anyway, full spoilers, as always, guys. So, first thing we need to talk about is the opening 20 minutes of this episode, which takes place in a late 80s, early 90s sitcom style, complete with the 43 aspect ratio. In fact, not only that, they even shitty up the video a little bit so that it looks kind of old school.
VHS-y, yeah.
Yeah. Um, they even had some old school like commercials sort of inserted in the ad break. It was all very, very interesting and weird. And they had a laugh track which Elliot could hear,
Yeah.
and it
Ah,
was
it was
seemingly
so
going crazy.
strange.
It was strange, but you very quickly got what was going on. Like
You did.
as soon as you seen a little bit of the end of last episode on the Game Boy, you go, all right, this is him dealing with the fact that he's had the absolute bloody piss beat out of him, and that comes more into it as we go. There's a lot of metaphorical stuff going on during this though.
There is. There's
When it
there's one line in particular that stood out to me.
like for example when he runs into Angela at the Evil Core store, and she says something like, "Oh well, I've become assistant manager. I'm now in line to be manager." It almost makes up for them killing my mother. Like, you know,
Yeah.
pretty blatant. Like just referencing what's going on in the actual show. Um,
Yeah, the one that stood out to me was when he goes, no, none of this is real. And it's almost like he's talking about the living at home.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if he's doing this to deal with this beating, then
That's what,
the,
because he says none of this is real. I've created all this.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
that's a very good point. 'Cause I don't think there was a whole lot of the he's really in an institute this episode in terms of because once we actually break into the real world, as it were, there's not a whole lot of Elliot. There's only a
no,
couple of
he
key
kind of just
scenes.
bookends it, doesn't he?
He bookends it. The opening and closing scenes actually have a lot of symmetry, which
Mm.
is really nice because the closing scene, which is an actual flashback to Elliot when he was a kid, also involves driving with his dad and having a destination, and he was just in a fight. Like there's a lot of parallels to draw between
There's
the
like
two.
even similar dialogue where he's like eyes on the road.
Yeah. So no, a lot of interesting stuff there. Alf had a cameo. You can
Yeah,
have your Alf cameo. Even get the cheesy intro credits, which was a lot of fun.
yeah, that was a. It was just so strange, and it's it's impressive that it's so strange and should feel so out of place, yet it doesn't.
Yeah, not in this. But I suppose the biggest thing to talk about in this whole section is the man in the trunk. The you
Yeah,
know,
this threw me for a bit because at first I was pretty sure it was him in the trunk.
hmm.
Like they'd thrown him in the trunk and he was just processing it.
Oh yeah, I think that occurred to me as well. It's when you first heard the noise.
Yeah,
Well, or seen the man in the trunk thing in the credits. Whatever one came
the noise
first.
was before that.
Was I can't remember.
Yeah, pretty sure it was.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter. But the point is what that actually means. There's the more direct thing, because obviously it's Tyrell, and the more direct thing you could take from it is they saying that he killed Tyrell and put him in a bit of a car. Because I remember in the season one finale, there is this moment after he wakes up where he does look at the back of the car.
Yeah.
So that's the more obvious thing to take away from it.
And
Is
don't forget, there's also the only other time we've featured a boot of a car would be the prison break episode.
yeah, yeah, which obviously was quite a big deal. But that's the more direct thing to take from it. I'm wondering if it's actually not as specific as that. It's more just a metaphor for Tyrell's location being locked away in his mind.
Yeah, I always got that. Maybe he killed his position in business, like because he
Because
killed his life essentially, even if he didn't physically take his life, he did kind of ruin everything he had.
Uh, he,
Indirectly by
no,
by like hacking and doing it all
I
and
guess
going
he
against him.
mostly did it to himself though.
Well, yeah,
Like
but
he killed the woman. He did that too. He did
he
that
did do that
himself.
himself.
Yeah, that wasn't Elliot. Elliot had nothing to do with that.
No, no, he did that himself.
Um, but no, and the other reason why I think that is because the way Mr. Robot is like keeps like try to keep him away from it and like not let him see what's in the boot, not let him see what's in the car. He's
Yeah,
locking it away from Elliot, and that's where that came from to me. But of course, what we really get thematically this episode from him and Mr. Robot is Mr. Robot showing Elliot that he has a purpose and that he can help him.
yeah. I was just thinking along this point that ties in with the last one. He says, "I only took control to save you from the beating." Like he only took control to, like keep him okay.
Yeah, yeah, no, because the exact line is that I took control to take those punches for you.
Right. Yeah.
And that is very interesting because obviously Elliot's been looking at Mr. Robot as this villainous character that he's trying to keep out. But there is some sort of like purpose, and even though he's not really his dad because it's just
It's
him,
still based on him, isn't it?
the idea that he's looking out for him is still kind of oddly sweet. Like it was oddly touching at times of this episode when he was like doing things for him and trying to keep him safe.
Yeah. But I think for me, it very much showed that entire delusion was entirely created by Mr. Robot. Like he was in control of what the delusion was, rather than it just being random. And then the bits that we see are like Elliot fighting back. So that'll be why it's locked away because it's Mr. Robot like purposely creating that trunk and like separate thing.
Some of it's kind of random. Alf is only there because it was on the TV when he's
Well,
lying in
okay,
bed.
yeah, but most of it, I think, like the idea of the road trip and the situation is all controlled by Mr. Robot. It's very intentionally like he's feeding that situation to him rather than it just being created randomly.
I guess I don't quite see it as Mr. Robot being someone who actively creates the illusion.
Okay. I see. I really did in this.
Because Mr. Robot himself is a creation of Elliot's.
Yeah, but he can fight and take control of Elliot. Like you said, like he can literally take over the brain and do what he wants.
See, to me, I took this whole illusion more of a Elliot's reimagining of his actual early life, like the over the top comical of the mother like punching Darlene, like it's just a comical version of what actually happened. To me, this was all just like some weird construct of like taking what his childhood was and like well putting it into the metaphor of like
Yeah, yeah.
what's
No,
actually
I
going
get
on.
that, but I still feel like it was Mr. Robot choosing it for the most part.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I don't know. That was just the impression I got.
Uh, yeah, okay. Um, so that was the Elliot Mr. Robot's thing, but honestly, that wasn't even the most impressive part of the episode.
No, and that says it all when that's the first, what, third or so of the episode? Nearly half?
First, well, first 20 minutes and then the last five because we kind of included the flashback as well. I suppose we should mention that he did let him pick the name for the computer store, which
I
is
suppose before we move on from Elliot as well, we should talk about where he gets dumped.
go on then.
I mean, do you have any theory? Like, is it just a random hideout that those guys have, do you think? Or,
I don't know. It's just like a pretty plain room to me. I didn't really see anything that told me anything about it.
well, no, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if that's meant to be back in this institution that they've taken him from, but now we're seeing the reality of it.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
Or if it is a separate criminal place that they have.
I don't think there's any way to really know because like even if it is the same institute, like it might not necessarily even be one of the rooms that we've seen, quote unquote
Yeah,
seen. It
yeah,
could just be like another random room in the basement or something.
yeah, yeah, it's true. I was just
So,
wondering which one. Do you have any preference to which one it might be?
uh, probably the institute. It'd be probably mean a little bit more, but I don't think it matters that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Especially if they've taken them off somewhere to do the more computer stuff once he's not feeling his shit. Which really begs the question: why beat the absolute living piss out of him if you still need them to do the thing and you want that done quickly? Just some criminals, not the brightest tools in the sheds. That's all I'm saying.
Clearly, they don't need it done as quickly as they implied.
But yeah, that's Elliot and Mr. Robot's kind of side of the episode, which is mostly contained to the opening 20 minutes and the last like 5 in the illusion and in the flashback. The other part of the episode entirely focuses on pretty much. There's one scene with Dom, like speaking about the incident from last week, and there's a scene with Darlene's ex, who has a bit of a nasty run-in with the Dark Army.
I missed some of the subtitles in that one, I'll be honest. I was too busy looking away from the needle. Like I couldn't.
He was just saying to him, remember your place, you're a foot soldier, you don't ask questions, kind of thing. That was the gist of what he was saying.
Good stuff.
And yeah, I think that was just showing how you don't fuck with the Dark Army. They mean serious business.
I think there was a really interesting line in that at the start of it where he says, "Oh, he's been wasting time." I thought that was very, because obviously he surely must know, at least of the reputation that he has with time.
Maybe, I don't know. It may not even be something that character consciously knows. It may just be a writing thing,
Yeah, it could be.
They've put in that touch because it'll make us think, oh wait, wasting time. That's like an insult to Waitrose.
Yeah, it is.
What did you say I've been doing? Say I've been wasting time, you son of a bitch. But nah, that was just I was just there to show you how dark. Actually, do you know what moment I love with him? See when Angela recognizes him, and there's this pure awkward moment, and Darlene's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
I think he looks a little bit scared as well. Like
he does.
I think Darlene and the rest of FSA don't know the extent of the involvement he had in the events before.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
and he clearly doesn't want them to know.
It clearly seems like that because the way he reacted, he looked petrified, and Darlene didn't realise that they two recognise each other, and then Angela doesn't say that she knows him. She keeps it quiet, and I'm wondering if that's just because she's already so deep into all this stuff. The less everyone can connect pieces together, the better.
I don't know. I feel like maybe she's starting to learn how to play the game a bit, and she wants some leverage of her own.
But she's tried this leverage game in the past, and it's not worked out too well.
She has, but maybe she's thinking this is a bit lower on the scale. This guy. Maybe she'll have a bit better luck if she starts a bit lower than with like a CEO.
That is true. But obviously, the main gist of this is Angela's learning a little bit of a hacking skill because she needs to do a couple of things when she does this thing on the floor of the Evil Core building where the FBI are. And the main focus, of course, is I guess we'll call it the heist. The her getting in and planting the device and the little bit of hacking. And the centerpiece of this, of course, is a one-take sort of scene.
Goes on for ages.
Where it's all one shot. From the moment she steps out of the elevator to the moment where she goes under the desk, it's all one shot. At least to the best of I can. Sometimes they'll sneak a cut in there where you can't really tell. There's a moment where it focuses on the door. You could technically, you could fake it there. You could make it merge from one shot to the next without anyone spotting it.
That's fine because it doesn't look like it, so it doesn't matter.
True. But, that is possible. It may not have, but that's certainly a possibility. But otherwise, it's a good 5-minute scene of one take.
I really love just the bit before as well because it starts us with Darlene over in the hotel and the music, the heist music's playing and she's doing her bit and then it cuts to Angela at her desk and the music just stops dead.
And it starts up again though when she comes out. It
does, but you get the bit where when Darlene's doing it, she's confident, she knows exactly what she's doing, she's fine with it, and then it cuts to Angela, the music stops, it's like she's just terrified.
Yeah, she's a nervous wreck, yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's really, really well done. The direction, we mentioned the direction was great last week, it was great again this week. Sam Esmail's just, he's just evolving and doing better, on a week-to-week basis. It's really kind of insane. When she comes out of the bathroom and the FBI guy, stops her and tries to flirt, and it kind of goes back and forth, and she kind of like realizes how to win this fight like halfway through the conversation. It's worth mentioning as well, if you're familiar with camera techniques, the camera crosses the line
It
around the
does.
moment where she like realizes how to like win the fight.
But it works really well because it's at that moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously that's exactly
It's
why
like it's
it's there.
literally like flipping a switch in a
Um,
brain.
and if you don't know what crossing the line means, it just means the camera's on one side of the conversation, and then it'll flip to the other perspective. So if one person's looking left for the first half of the scene, the camera will go around to the other side of them, and they'll now be looking right. That's just what crossing the line means. It's all, imagine a line between the two characters talking,
Yeah,
and that's the line that's crossed.
just doesn't happen very often. So
Well, no, like you can't cut across the line. Well, you can. Like some directors will do it, and they'll do it when they want it to feel startling. But most of the time, if someone crosses the line, it's because they made a mistake.
yeah, I can think of a few examples of it being done in a cut properly, but it's rare.
Yeah, yeah. There's a reason why that rule's there, because it confuses the audience if you just do it willy nilly.
Yeah.
You want everything to be from the same side roughly. Um, so no, so that shot's great. Speculation as to the thing not working properly. I think the Dark Army might have sabotaged that device they gave
I
her.
think that's almost a given, frankly.
So yeah,
I mean, why else would we have had a scene showing them giving it to him and like saying, because he asks what have you done and he wants to know because they're his friends, and they're like, and then obviously they're like, ah, shut up.
nah. It just makes sense that they did something to it. They want them to get caught, and we know that White Rose is in cahoots with Philip. Like, there's some sort of weird conspiracy going on between them two. Even though White Rose was instrumental in doing the hack last season,
I'm still not entirely sure what the connection is.
uh, but again, maybe this is all part of White Rose playing two lives. One life wants to fuck them over, the other life wants to not. But then both involve the Dark Army, which I would have assumed would be one life, and the military, well, not military, but the political business guy would be the other life.
Yeah,
But he seems to be using both like parts of his life to for both aims, like which gets confusing.
it is confusing.
So we'll have to see how that plays out and see if we learn more things like that. But now that was really tense, especially when Dom starts talking to her and Dom is there, and that's kind of made it feel like the first half of a two-parter to me, because I felt like this story is only half of it because of where it ends with like Dom coming to talk to her.
Yeah, I get you.
But no, like my immediate reaction was like, "Oh, jeez, Angela's fucked."
Yeah, you just it's the way everything kind of the whole camera just stops dead. Nothing moves for a good second before it looks up at her.
Yeah, but you know her voice. Like
You do. You know who it is, but you don't get that reaction to look at it. You just have a pause just to think about it for a second, which is really clever.
yeah. No, this was a great episode. I might have preferred last week's slightly, but it's not much in it.
If, yeah, I'm not, I couldn't tell you
And
without actually thinking about
Ismail
it.
almost he tweeted out earlier today that it was his favorite episode of the show so far. So my height was through the roof. Like I was,
The
bracing
question is,
myself for
did it live
impact.
up to the hype?
Kind of no, because it's not the best episode of the show.
I think he probably said that because he got to do something so drastically different.
Yeah, no, I get why it would be his favorite from like I got to do this big one or I got to do this 90s sitcom thing, but for me, like episodes 8 and 9 last season are still probably the two high points of the show so far. But I mean, when I say it failed expectations, it failed the expectation of this is the best episode of the entire show.
Yeah, it was still an extremely good episode.
Yeah, no, heist was fun, sitcom was fun, and the flashback at the end was another important piece of the
I tell you what, one
backstory.
scene that stood out as a little bit odd to me
Mm-hmm.
is the scene where Dom goes back to the shop.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I mean, what I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of this scene is. Maybe I'm missing something. Everything's empty and she's the only one there, like still trying to keep it going. Is that meant to be it? Like she's the only one who's still really focused on things.
Um, I don't know, like, well, because the other scene we see with the FBI, like, our superior, is that she's been, like, possibly forced to take, like, 4 weeks leave because of the traumatic incident she's went through.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's maybe just another way of hitting home that she's losing control in some way, because the place she always goes to isn't going to be there anymore.
Yeah, that could be it.
Um, but she asks for that one last sandwich anyway, because she'll keep pushing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Oh, that's a reasonable answer. I was just wondering. It stuck with me.
yeah. But nah, nah, uh, fantastic stuff. I mean, the season's definitely moving at a much slower pace in terms of plot. Like when I think back to season one, there was like so much plot like happening per episode compared to this. Which for some people I think will probably be an issue. For me, it's not. Like I actually kind of like how much time they're taking to explore everything. And
Hey, when you get a good 5 minute one just on one scene, I'll take a backseat on plot for that.
yeah, and it's funny though because during the shootout last week we were saying, "Oh, this is great how it was all done in one shot," and that lasted like 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
This week we just get this 5 minute long take. But no, impressive stuff. So that's Mr. Robot episode 6. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thoughts and theories and wild speculation. Let us in to your thought process. We always like to hear. Like and subscribe and all that jazz helps us out a lot. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We will see you next time.